experience, he has significantly contributed to teaching, research, and institutional development. He holds a PhD in computer science engineering from the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, following his MTech in computer science and data processing from IIT Kharagpur. His research interests include image processing and computer vision, machine learning, algorithms and data structures, theory of computing. Dr. Masilamani has an extensive research portfolio with over 40 publications in reputed journals and more than 50 papers presented at national and international conferences. He has over 19 years of teaching and research experience, including 15 years at IIITDM Kanjipuram. He holds professional membership in IEEE and ACM, and also he has several key administrative positions, including Dean of Student Affairs, Head of the Department of CSE from 21 to 24, Senate member for over 5 years, Stream Coordinator for Computer Science and Engineering, Faculty Coordinator for Student Council, SST Coordinator, Institute Ranking in Charge, Anti-Ragging Coordinator, and member of Curriculum Design Committee for Computer Engineering. Dr. V. Masilamani is known for his academic leadership, research contributions, and strong commitment to student development and institutional excellence. His broad experience and interdisciplinary expertise make him a highly valued resource person in the field of computer science, research methodology, and academic leadership.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
In today's rapidly evolving world, industries are transforming at an unprecedented pace, and AI and ML is at the core of this revolution. From predictive maintenance and smart manufacturing to intelligent supply chains and automation, these technologies are redefining how industries operate and compete globally. Today's session on artificial intelligence and machine learning in industrial automation has been designed to bridge the gap between the academic research and industrial practices, which enables the faculty members and researchers to explore the cutting edge methods, tools, and applications of AI and ML. So, without any delay, let us soon dive into the session. So, shall we start the session, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction.
Thank you, sir.
So currently 56 participants are there. Do we expect some more?
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
Yes, sir. They'll come, sir. Nearly some 150 have registered.
Okay.
They'll join like
So in all the
yes,
sessions,
Yes.
sir.
we are having
Yeah,
around
on
110 participants.
Yeah,
yes,
we can
Maybe
more
start
in
than
it.
a few minutes they will.
yes joins.
Okay, no issue. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
let me share the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Madam, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, sir. We can view your screen.
Right. Good evening to everybody.
Good evening, sir.
So, welcome to my talk. And we can start it, but we are all sitting here, and and we will be benefited for sure. Right. So for today, I have chosen this topic AI and ML for industrial automation. The overview of my talk goes like this. First, we will see a quick introduction to industrial automation. We'll see what is industrial automation. Then we will see the role of AI and ML in industrial automation. We'll see some case studies related to EV, VLSI design, and so on. Then we'll move on to some fundamentals of AI and ML. Unless we know that, we cannot connect that with the application in Industry 4.0. And we will see what is AI, what is ML, what is DL, how they are different, and what are the basic algorithms that are helping us to solve problems related to industrial automation. And then we will look at the types of machine learning algorithms like supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised, reinforcement learning. We also look at deep learning architectures and some of the challenges in general model building. Right. So to start with, we need to understand what is industrial automation. Industrial automation refers to using computer, robots, and control system to reduce or eliminate the need of human being in physical process in industry. What do you mean physical process in industry? What is not physical process? For example, if you are predicting the income or revenue of a company, then that is not, a physical process. Prediction is not the physical process. Whereas if you replace some human who is doing some physical work, then you can say that that is physical process, right? And if such physical process is done by computer, robots, and control system jointly, then it is called as industrial automation. For instance, you see here, so schematic representation gives a computer here, a robo, and control system. They are all working together to replace human. Otherwise, human will do that work. Now these three are doing collectively that work. Then you can say such work is called as industrial automation. I'm sure you have heard some other lectures on this topic, industrial automation. I'm sure this definition will align with the definitions given by other speakers. Right. So, what is the goal of automation? It's very obvious. We want to do the process fast, right? And we also want to reduce the cost of completing that process, and we also uh, want to do it safely. If human being is doing some job, sometime there may be a risk, but if machine is doing, then risk free. So for safety purpose, reducing cost, and also for completing the task faster, industrial automation is looked at. For instance, just look at this one. Robo is doing welding, right? Welding is a risky job for a human being, right? Eyes will be affected, or there may be a chance of getting burned or hurt by the human. So it is better to replace the welding done by human by a machine, and that is one industrial automation example. And this one, nowadays we have tall buildings, right? 30 years back, we used to say that LIC, which was 14 floor buildings, the tallest in Chennai. Now we have 40, 50, 60 floor building everywhere in Chennai. And but the problem is that when you try to paint, right, you cannot, make ladder going up to 40th floor or 50th floor and so on. It is better to make robo, and robo will go around the wall and paint the wall. Right? That is risk free, and also it will do faster. Right? And if you look at this X-ray screening, right? Before X-ray screening started in the airport, people used to check everybody separately, what is carried by this particular person and all that, or what is there in the bag or suitcase and all. Now this process is automated. Just put it into a trolley, and the X-ray screening will detect what kind of object it is. If object which is not perimeter is inside the suitcase, then that will be routed to some other track, and if it is okay, then it will be going in the normal track, right? So it's a automation, right? Anything that is done by human, if you replace it with the machines and algorithms, then it is called as industrial automation. And another example, this one you see, grading of fruits, right? You see cameras will be watching the fruits, right, and capturing the images and send it to the computer, and computer run an algorithm, and it will detect whether the fruit is good quality or bad quality. If it is good quality, it will go to some tray. If it is bad quality, it will go to some other tray. And sometimes you may want to classify into more than two categories: the best, the average, the poor one. Sometimes people will put whether it is fully ripened or partial ripened, and or it is not usable at all. So like that, you can have the classifications, and you can grade the fruits accordingly, and you can also count such fruits. Right? In each category, how many fruits are going to the basket, that you can count, and that can be documented. So this process, otherwise done by the human, which will take a lot of time. Whereas if you do it with this automatic way, then you can do it faster, and you can also do the analysis later on the data that is received. Right. So we understood what is industrial automation. Let's see how the industrial automation, evolved. Right. The first industrial automation came in 17th century, or maybe later part of 16th century. Right. There they used water, right? And they brought steam and steam engines. Through steam engines, they were able to automate some process. Otherwise, they were done by human earlier, right? That brought industrial revolution, right? That is called as first industrial revolution. And in the second industrial revolution, electricity was used, motors were used, steam engines were replaced by motors, and the electric machines, right, are faster than the mechanical machines or devices, and therefore second industrial revolution is able to do the jobs faster, and more jobs were done by the electrical devices in the second industrial revolution. The third industrial revolution, the electrical devices were replaced by electronics devices. For example, computer came into picture and was used heavily, as still being used heavily to replace the works done by human. And the fourth revolution, which is the topic of this this particular workshop, in the fourth industrial revolution, beyond the computer, people started looking at cyber physical system, which involves data, right? Data is very, very important. And through data, they try to secure the cyber physical system, and they try to do a lot of things by integrating physical system and the cyber system. Cyber system means a digital system, right? And if you look at the fuel in the first industrial revolution, what was the fuel? Water was the fuel. The water, the steam was produced, and the steam was used to push the engines, right? And vehicles and all, trains and all. And the second revolution, what is the fuel? Electricity is the fuel, right? And the third one, what is the fuel? Again, electronics industry, and electronics machines are a little bit faster than the electrical machines, and in both cases we use power, electric power, but in the second century we used to have high power, right? And whereas in the third century, the third industrial revolution, we used to have the low power. The difference between electrical and electronic devices is that in electronics we will use semiconductor which requires low power, whereas in electrical devices you use high power, right? The voltage, the intensity of the power is what the difference between electricity and electrical and electronics. Right? In other words, semiconductor used means it's electronics, it is not used, but still you are using current flow means it is electrical. Right? And electronics is faster than electrical. For example, if you look at motor, which is an electrical device, and if you use computer, then it is electronics. And computers are faster. The number of, if you just look at the clock cycles of computer and number of rotation made by the motor in electrical device, you see huge difference. Right? And in the fourth industrial revolution, what is the fuel? Data is the fuel. Although we are talking about cyber physical system, data is the fuel. And people say that data is gold, and it's more than oil. And the country or the company which has got a lot of data are having good wealth. And with that, we can solve a lot of problems. We can automate a lot of things in the industry. That's the idea. When you try to automate, sometime only the computers, the robots will be there. Sometime along with computers, robots, you can also involve human being, right? And cyber physical system, we will have digital devices and physical devices, physical objects also, and possibly human intervention may also be there. It's not many times we may not do complete automation, and partial automation we will do. In that, human being will be also there. Well, this is what I was talking about, the fourth industrial revolution, Industry 4.0 or 4.0. and that involves data and digital devices and physical devices and so on. Particularly, IoT has got into this domain. Earlier, in the third industrial revolution, computer was there. Even robo was also used, but the concept of IoT was not used. Right? In the fourth industrial revolution, the IoT is used. Why? Why is it so? So when you try to connect not just the computers, even the non-computing devices, physical devices like fans, right, or some other objects, right, smart locks and smart watches, some of the things that are not normally doing computing jobs, still you can connect them, right, by keeping appropriate things with that devices. So, if you want to connect them all and solve the real world problem, and if you want to do the industrial process, which was normally done by human, then you need to use this IoT. IoT is basically connecting all devices, not just computing devices. Well, so let us look at role of AIML in industrial automation. That is the talk given to me. Title of the talk given to me. Just look at ML. We'll see what is ML, what is A bit later. I'm not sure whether it was already covered in any of the talks. Can somebody comment? Was this AIML introduced earlier by anybody? Am I connected? Some of you can answer, please. And I'll look at the chat box. Was AIML introduced by anybody in the same workshop? Yes. And we don't know to what level. Okay. Can you describe to what level? Overview of AIML or some fundamental algorithms were taught. Dr. Padmavati, you can respond. Okay. Yeah. So I'm also given this similar role. I need to introduce AIML in the context of industry 4.0. And if there is some overlapping, you can tell, and I'll move faster, and I'll tell something which you have not studied in this talk. Okay, in this workshop. Let's move on. Well, so the purpose of my talk is to tell where all this AIML are used in industrial automation, right? Different industries are there, the medical industry, and even education is also industry nowadays. You know how education is industry? What is the definition of industry? Anything which is making business is industry, right? The revenue is a goal means it's an industry. If you look at government schools and government colleges, they are not industry. Whereas private colleges, private schools are industry. Similarly, if you look at a government hospital, that is not industry. But if you look at private hospitals, they are in industry. In other words, any organization which is paying GST, goods and service taxes, are all industries, right? Right. So I can say healthcare industry, agriculture is an industry, even education is an industry, right? Everything is an industry if they are making money out of their business or process. If it is NGO, it is not an industry, right? Their goal is not to earn money but to serve. Right. Well, so let us look at the healthcare industry and see how ML is used over there. You know, before the advent of CT scan, MRI scan, and all, if you want to see what is inside a body, you need to cut that and see. Are some symptoms doctors will figure out, and based on that, they will tell what disease is there. Thanks to this medical imaging, we are able to see what is inside the body without even touching the body, right? What you see in the images, CT scan images, MRI images also look similar, right? So only thing is that the electromagnetic wave which is used in X-ray is X-ray, whereas in MRI it's a radio wave. That's it. And what is the automation done here? A machine will capture, for example, in CT scan, machine will capture hundreds of X-ray images, and then it will run a reconstruction algorithm to get the slice image, right? And then another algorithm can run on this slice image to find out if there is any abnormalities here or not. Cancerous portions here, or benign tumor is here, and all that will be detected by some classification algorithm. Here, where is ML is used? ML is used for detecting abnormal portions in the image, right? And you can also use YAML for predicting so many other things, like somebody is going to have the sugar is going to be diabetic very soon or not, or you can detect his health issues in the near future. All that can be predicted using ML. So usually all these things were done by human doctors. Now they are replaced by the human doctors are replaced by the AML to some extent, not to the full extent. Again, the first level screening is done by the classifiers, and the second level screening will be done by the expert doctors. And the next one, robotic surgery, it is very interesting. It's a nice use case to illustrate the industrial automation in medical industry. See, in New York, the actual doctor will be sitting, right? And he will be, making moves there. But actual operation will be happening in Chennai, right? And the cutting of the body will be happening in Chennai, but the movement of hands will be happening in New York, right? That is called as remote surgery. And who will be cutting the body actually here? Robo. And who will be giving command to the robo? Some human expert, right? He can give the command through program. That is one way. Another way, the expert who is available somewhere in the other country, you can do some action, and the camera will capture that image, and the algorithm will recognize what he is doing, and the coordinates of the movements of the knife will be sent to the robo, and robo will move the knife accordingly, right? So this is called as robo surgery, and that can be done with the help of human or with the help of purely program. So it's a good use case for the industrial automation in medical industry. So coming to this manufacturing, mechanical manufacturing products, there the computer vision or machine vision is used to automate a lot of process. For instance, quality check and quantity check. What is quantity check? Just look at this image. You see bottle is not filled properly. And before using this AML, how people were testing whether it is done properly or not, that will be quality check engineer. And he will look at whether it is filled or not. If it is filled, if it is filled properly, then he will put it into some basket. If it is not, then he will put it into some other basket. And human cannot do work fast, and he cannot work without getting tired. And so because of this, if you make a machine to do the job, it will never get tired and do it faster. Sometimes it may not do with the same accuracy as that of the human, right? But it can do it faster, and it can do it with lesser cost than what you will pay for a human, in at least in the long run. Right? So what you see here, checking whether the quantity is okay or not. Similarly, quality also you can check, right? What do you mean quality? Suppose some foreign object is inside the bottle, right? In glucose bottle, suppose some hair is inside. Can it detect? If you can detect automatically, right, and put it into some basket, if some foreign object is inside, then it is better, right? Otherwise, human will not look at it carefully. He may miss it out, or even if he's doing it, he will take more time. And even if he's taking more time, he will charge more. And so, because of that, if you can bring the automation for checking the quality and also checking the quantity, then we can do the business faster. And another thing, pasting the label, manufacturing date label. Sometimes, you know, people may miss to paste the label, right? And in the quality check, it should be checked whether the label is pasted or not. Right. Sometimes the label will be pasted incorrectly, right? The expiry date may be some X, but some other label which was nearby, by mistake, a person would have put onto the object that was manufactured. So somebody will have to check before putting into the container. Somebody will have to check, right? If you use human, it will take more time, but if you use algorithm and if you automate this process, then you can do it faster. So the ML algorithm can tell whether label is there or not. It's basically classification problem. Given the bottle, label is there or not, right? If label is there, then whether it is proper label or not, again it is a classification problem. It's OCR problem, optical character recognition problem, right? There you need to detect the object and recognize the object. For example, every character should be detected first, and then you should recognize what character it is. It is basically a machine learning problem, right? OCR is a machine learning algorithm, right? And also finding the dimensions and counting the number of objects present and self-driving car, and these are all basically done nowadays by AIML, and they are all automation in the industry. For instance, the checking abnormal things using machine learning algorithm is done to automate the process. And for grading the fruit, right? Whether it is foreign object like this or proper apple, right? And if you use human to check what it is, he will take his sweet time. And but if you use camera to capture this image and recognize each object, right? If foreign object is found, that should be moved to one bin, and the actual fruit will be moved to another bin, like that. And the garment industry, you see, after manufacturing, the manual process of quality checking is done with the human. He will take some sample piece and see if there is any defect in the manufactured or the fabric, produced fabric, and that takes a lot of time. And a human, in a large sheet of fabric, human cannot see everywhere. Whereas if the camera, if you can move the camera through the fabric and take the image at every configuration location and check whether that particular texture is okay or not. For example, the texture here, and all same, but here it is different. That is indication that the fabric is not proper. Right? So, like here, some cut is there, cut is here, and some different texture is there, different texture is there, and so on. So all that can be done very fast, right? You can use one robot to spread the large fabric that is manufactured on a floor, and you can keep one camera which is moving around and allowing it to take images, send it to the computer. Computer can detect difference in the texture, right? So one square area will be taken and another square area, and so on. All the square areas are very similar, but here alone it is different. That means it is abnormal area. And in the retail industry, supermarket and all, people are some people are having stealing as a habit. Even if they have money, they will enjoy stealing the items, right? And to find out such people, if you keep watchmen here and there, security here and there, it may not work all the time, right? You cannot keep too many security personnel. If we keep cameras around and allowing it to capture images And if your algorithm is detecting anybody who is doing mischievous things like stealing, breaking, pushing things down, so on, then if it is intimated to the shop owner, he will take the necessary action, right? So this is an automation. ML is used for checking the activity is normal or abnormal. And another example, in home environment, when you try to find out somebody is intruding into the house or not, right? Home security is automated, right? Physically, usually, the physical security person will be deployed, and that is a costly affair. Companies, banks, schools, and colleges, they can, operate the security personnel. But individual house, if they are rich, that they can do. The normal houses cannot afford to keep security personnel, but you can keep CCTV cameras over there, and cameras will capture the images and send it to the computer. Computer will process, and it will detect if any intruder is coming, any thief is coming, and it will give the alert message that some intruder is coming. And on seeing that, even if the house owner is remotely available, not available at home, he can ask his neighbor to attend to the issue, and the thief will be caught or will be driven away. Right. So, again, I remind you of what is automation. Automation is the process done by computer, robo, and control system, whereas that particular job was normally done by human, but now if you do that job with these three, then it is called as automation, right? Now let us take another case study. In precision agriculture, ML is used heavily. For instance, if you want to spray pesticide, right? So what is done traditionally, farmer will go around and he will spray pesticide throughout the garden, right? And farmer is replaced by now the drone. And drone is running an algorithm inside, and that algorithm is capturing the garden's image, leaves image, or plant's image, and find out if that leaf has got disease or not, or if it is affected or not. If that area leaves are affected by some disease, then the pesticide will be sprayed. Otherwise, it won't, right? That is what we call it as precision, right? The place where it actually requires pesticide, that place will be applied pesticide. Whereas if you ask the farmer, human, apply pesticide, he will, spray it everywhere, even the place where the defect is not there, he will do it because he doesn't have time to look at it carefully and all that. Whereas, when you automated detecting the leaves are defected, the leaves are with defects or not, you can do it very quickly, and then you can apply or spray the pesticides onto those leaves alone. So it is a nice case study of industrial automation, agriculture industry. Of course, there are, like this leaves are with the defects can be identified. It's basically object detection problem, right? Object detection problem is a machine learning problem, right? Machine learning algorithm will detect the objects of different categories and learn to detect objects of different categories. And then when the test image is given at the inferential time, it will apply the learned information to detect the objects. Here the object is leaf with defect, and can also be done for the object detection can be done for other applications, right? Suppose you want to detect whether disease has just started or not. Here disease has already is been spread into many leaves, and the holes started coming, which means it is not the starting of the disease. Whereas if you look at some leaves, the color slightly may change, right? And that is indication of starting of the disease in the leaf. That can also be predicted by ML algorithm, and based on that, we can do some necessary actions like spraying a pesticide, or removing that particular parts of the plant and so on. Harvesting, whether the fruit is fully ripened or not. How do we know? Usually the human will go and check. You look at the color, you will also press some sample fruits and check whether it is fully ripened or not. And if that process is replaced by the digital system, then it is called as automation, right? And here you can use robo may be fixed with camera, and robo will have the processor inside, and the processor will run an algorithm that will take the images captured by the camera, and it will figure out where the fruit is, and then it will check whether fruit is for ripening stage or not, whether we can you know unplug it or not, right? And next example for industrial automation is the transport industry, right? Transport is an industry, right? And you see here buses there, and the problem here is that we need to find number of passengers traveling in the bus at any point in time. Maybe periodically we'll have to count the number of passengers inside the bus, and we need to record that count in a database. Why is it required? Can somebody answer? Some discussion. I keep on talking. So you can type in the chat box.
Sir, hello. You are not audible, sir.
How muted? I
Yes,
don't know. I'm sorry.
yes, yes, sir.
Now it's fine, right?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay, it was muted by
Yes,
mistake.
sir. Yes.
Right. Okay, I'll go back to the presentation. Right. In the private buses, there is no concept called checking inspector, and therefore, whatever the driver is collecting money from the passengers, and he will take some money from that, and he may give the rest to the bus owner. There is no way to check whether the driver is saying correct thing or not. But if there is a way to count the number of passengers at any point in time and record in the database, the bus owner sitting at home, he can check how many passengers are traveling at any point in time. Right? Knowing that, the driver will not do any malpractice. Even if he's doing it, he will be caught. Right. So that's the use case. Right. Now the question is that how do you detect or how do you count the number of passengers? So we did this project in our lab at our institute, and can keep a camera here at the top of the top of the door of the bus. As a person comes in, increment the counter. When the person goes outside the bus, right? Then you decrement the counter. Initially, start the counter with zero. Now there are two challenges. Challenge number one, you need to find whether person is present or not in the frame. And then you need to check whether he is going out or coming in. Right? And the first one, checking whether the human is coming or not. It's basically classification problem, human or not. Whenever there's a motion detected, you check human is there in the frame or not. So classification is a normal problem. And then you need to find out the direction in which he is going. There ML is not required. Just find out to subsequent frames and see where are the human is present and find the direction in which he is moving. Then accordingly you decrement the counter or increment the counter. It's a simple problem, right? And you can use this for very good purpose. And sometimes you don't have to actually detect 100% correctly. So mere presence of the system itself will make many drivers to do their jobs correctly, right? And even if they are doing it in spite of that, we'll be able to detect with some 90% accuracy or 98% accuracy. That is much better than not having anything. So another thing, attendance monitoring system. Everywhere, even the office also you can use, but classroom scenario is used here. You can say how education institute can be called as industry, but I told education is an industry now, right? If it is not government, right? And because education institutes are aiming at making money out of the process. So there, if you want to replace the physical way of taking attendance with digital system, right? We are talking about automation, isn't it? So given the classroom setup, take just some images of the classroom and feed that images to the computer and let the computer count, not just counting here, recognize each face. And if somebody's face is recognized, then he will be given attendance. His attendance will be marked in the database. Otherwise, his attendance will be absent. So this is basically an example of automation of the physical process that is normally done by a teacher. So what is involved here? Face recognition, face detection first, and then face recognition. And what are the challenges? Some people may not show their faces properly to the camera. And another challenge is that people who are sitting at the back will be seen in small size. Therefore, the resolution will be very low for them, and therefore recognition will be very less for them. And there will be some occlusion, right? There will be some motions, and all that should be managed. And this is another problem which we have done, problem project we have done in our lab for IOCL. And this problem is to just count the number of stones with some diameters in a range. Let me repeat. Given an image like this, you need to find the diameter of each stone. Diameter of stone is nothing but the farthest length, right? Take any two points on the stone and find the distance between those 2 points and find largest of such distances, that is called as diameter. For example, for this point, you will see the longest length, right? And that is a diameter. For this stone, this is the diameter. For this stone, this is the diameter. So find the diameter of each stone. Then you divide the ranges, right? Like 0 to some number now, and that number to another number, and so on. In that range of diameters, how many stones are there? That you plot. That is called as histograms. These are all bins. Bins are basically defining the range, and in that range, how many are there is represented by the height. So we gave this frequency distribution and for the stone image, right? And what is the use of this? Why we want to do this? You know, in mining, there will be blast happening. How the blast is made? They will, make big hole and pour some chemical, and then they will make a blast. To find out whether that blast is good quality blast or bad quality blast, what they used to do earlier is that they will use some human being engineers right? To measure every stone diameter, and then they will calculate within a particular range of diameters how many stones are present. But this is a tedious process, right? That physical process is replaced by our digital system. And in our digital system, what we do, we segment every stone like this. And then we find the diameter of that particular stone in terms of number of pixels. And number of pixels is translated into the centimeter with a reference object here, right? This ball, right, is placed over there purposely, and diameter of the ball is known, right? And for that ball, the diameter in terms of pixels is computed, and physical diameter is also known, and you can relate the physical diameter in terms of centimeter with the diameter in terms of pixels. Then you can find out per pixel how much is the length, physical length. And here we got the diameter in terms of pixels, that you can multiply by the physical length per pixel, and you will get the actual diameter in terms of centimeter. Otherwise, you can find only in terms of pixels, right? If you don't keep this bar. This is a technique we used. Any queries so far? And these are all testing cases. We spread the stones like this, and with human we measured the diameter of each stone, and with our software also we measured, and there is no much difference. And this WIPFrag is the commercial software which was also used for testing, this histogram computation. And our method is slightly better than this method. Okay, guys, with this, I will give some 2 minutes break for question. And next project that we did for one company in Pondicherry is to find the angle between the surface and the wheel, right? And that is also automation, right? So usually, human being will be, looking at the angle between the wheel and the surface, and then he will, correct that wheel such a way that the alignment is proper. To replace that wheel alignment manual process with automatic process, first we need to find the angle between the ground surface and the wheel surface, and that we have done, and we gave that particular algorithm to that company. Okay, so couple of minutes I'll stop, and if you have any queries you can ask me.
Good evening, sir. I am Saranya Devi.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening,
Actually, I
ma'am.
have sir. Actually, I have one doubt in this. Sir, could you say which type of ML algorithm gives high accuracy for finding that four parameters? First, freshness of fruits and vegetable. Second one, richness of fruits and vegetable. Third, shelf life of fruits and vegetable.
Right. You see, you cannot say that this is the best or that is the best, because it all depends on the data set that you have, right? On one data set, one algorithm will work well. On if you change the data set, another algorithm will work well. But for classifying these things, support vector machine is found to work very well. And if you have a large data set, but having said that, somebody may come up with random forest method that is giving better accuracy than this because of their feature selection and feature extraction, right? And so the quality of the solution is not just dependent on the classifier, the machine learning algorithm. It is also dependent on the feature vector that is constructed or extracted, and also it is based on the feature selection process that is done, right? So many parameters are there. So having said that, if you keep a reasonable feature vector, and if you use support vector machine, that is found to work very well, because it is putting some rigid, boundary to tell this particular fruit belongs to this category or not. Whereas the normal, linear classifier does not put any boundary for the classification purpose.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other query?
Sir, good evening, sir. This is Padmavati from New Prince Sri Bhavani College of Engineering and Technology.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, we are doing my students and with my guidance. We are doing a project in the background of electrical, but still maybe it is irrelevant to your discipline. But still, I you can answer. I think
Yeah, yeah,
because it
yeah.
is in that
If I know
I
the answer,
asked.
yes. Go
Sir,
ahead.
actually, we are integrating ML algorithms result with the SCADA.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
actually, we are forecasting the power demand.
Oh, power
Uh,
demand. Yes.
yeah, power demand. Already SCADA is there,
Mm.
but to precisely forecasting the power demand, we are integrating the
Yeah.
ML algorithms
Mm. Mm.
and we are comparing two or three ML algorithms and getting the best result. And then we are giving this result to the SCADA.
Okay.
The data set is already available. The power demand data set is already available in IEEE data port.
Mm-hmm.
So we have taken that data set
Mm.
and we are doing it with the SVM as you say, and
Mm.
SVM and ANN and one more algorithm we are going to use. So
Mm.
out of three, we are going to get the best result, and we have to give it to the SCADA now.
Okay.
Uh, Actually, the open source SCADA is we are using Rapid SCADA
Mm-hmm.
because it is not actually it is not available for us for a student project to use the real time SCADA. It cannot be done, right, sir?
Okay.
We cannot implement it also.
Okay.
So
I
can
will
you
not use the
suggest?
SCADA and all. What is the purpose of that?
SCADA is actually sensing and controlling
Mm.
the.
Control.
It is again forecasting. It is going to sense and it is control the parameters like the voltage, current, power, efficiency, and all. So it
Okay.
is actually in Tamil Nadu, SCADA is doing this forecasting and everything, the demand, and it is having again the data set. It is storing all the informations as a data set
Okay. See, if it is
in
predicting,
every
then why are you using a machine learning algorithm again to predict
for
the?
precise thing, and also we can um, forecast
Okay.
the
Yeah. So,
failures in the nodes
what is
likewise.
the query now? See, SCADA is also predicting, and you can also use your own machine learning
Precise
algorithm.
forecasting, we are using ML algorithm.
Okay.
My question is, how can this result can be integrated with the real time SCADA? Real time,
Okay. See, I'm not
yeah.
aware of SCADA, first of all. And
Uh,
second, if you want to predict the demand, power demand, in fact, I have a PPT on that as well, but now I have not integrated. Power
mm,
prediction, power requirement prediction is done by machine learning algorithms very successfully. And the success of that algorithm is purely dependent on the data set size, right? And if
mm.
you have a large data set, you can go for DNN, deep learning approach. And
ANN, yes.
yeah, DNN.
Okay.
And if you have a smaller size data set, then you can go for the SVM.
Mm, okay.
And SVR basically power, demand prediction involves SVR, right?
Yes, yes.
It's a
Okay.
regressor, it's not a classifier, right?
Okay.
Support vector regressor that can be used. And whether that will give better result than SCADA or not, I'm not sure. I don't know what was used inside SCADA. But since you are saying that that is not available for the students, and you can make your own algorithm, try out various things. In my opinion, if you have large data set, better go for deep learning approaches.
ANN, sir, for large
Yeah,
data
yeah,
set.
yeah. ANN with more hidden layers.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, let us continue. Right. Next, that EV domain. Well, electric vehicle is the talk of the world, not just talk of the town now. But in EV, we have a lot of benefits. Obviously, it is environment friendly. And second thing is that you can bring a lot of automation inside if it is electric vehicle. If it is purely mechanical and some part of electrical electronics are there, the automation will be limited. If it is fully EV, right, and usually this will bring a lot of scope for automations, right? So driverless car and detecting the defects automatically, overheating of engine automatically, and detecting battery life, and detecting the requirement of charging, when to charge, how long it will go, and so on. All are basically done through ML algorithms. And also, whether a car is getting stolen by some thief or not, and all that can be done by machine learning algorithms. So for all these algorithms, you need to get proper feature vector, and you need to learn the model, which is learning the relationship between the input features and the corresponding label. Such learned model will be used to tell the proper label given the features of that particular object. And there are a lot of problems solved in EV by ML. And you may be asking why it is an automation. Otherwise it is done by human. Anything which is done by human, if it is replaced by digital system, that is what we call it as automation, right? Right. So automatic braking when collision is about to happen, right? If you use predominantly mechanical car, and the driver will have to apply the brake whenever it is required. But if the car itself is applying the brake, nowadays, in the costly cars, right, high-end cars, yeah, like, the XUV 700 top variant, if you use, if somebody is, walking in front of the car and car is about to hit him, the car, will automatically apply the brake, and even the driver is sleeping, the car will not hit the pedestrians. Right. So this automatic braking is done in some of the top variants of the cars, and that is basically one example of industrial automation. And object identification in blind spot, right? When you drive a car, there are some areas you will not be able to see through mirror, or through any other way. You will not be able to see uh, some areas. That is called as blind spot. We will see in some of the images. Yeah, for suppose, so you take this image where is a blind spot, this area will be blind spot, this area, because this mirror will focus on this area, and suppose somebody is coming here and hitting here, you'll not be able to find. And this, right, this also blind spot. And this is also blind spot because the camera which is kept here will focus only on this side, and this will not be seen. Even if you have the mirror here, and that mirror will tell you what is here but not here. So these two are blind spot. Even this area is also blind spot. And to detect the objects on the blind spot, what you can do, you can keep cameras around the car and keep capturing images and send it to the processor which is running inside the car, and the processor will run an algorithm which will detect any object is coming in that particular blind spot or not. And the driver may also try to tend to sleep, right, and that can also be detected by ML algorithm. And ML can also help the driver to park, and can also make the automatic parking. Why the ML is used there? when you do parking automatically, you need to know the neighboring cars are very close by or not in the area where you want to park, if there is any other object or not. All that will be done by ML, the classification. Right? So object is there or not. It's a binary classification. Right? And providing 360 degree view can also be done by computer vision system. Take images around and stitch them together, and some of the image stitching algorithm can be done through ML algorithms. Right. That's what I was talking about. So driver safety is very important in automatic car, and you need to monitor driver himself. And if he's sleeping or not, you need to check. And then other ML algorithms that are helping driver is finding the routes and predicting, traffic will be there in the route or not, and all that are the automated process here in the automatic car segment. And these are all different tasks done by ML algorithms, like detecting collisions going to be there or not, and telling whether you are going in the proper lane or not, and so on. Right. For running ML algorithms, what you basically need is the sensors first. Sensors will take the data and send it to the algorithm, right? And these are the sensors used in the automatic car, and microphone, AC sensor to check whether it's working or not, video camera, GPS sensor, rear cameras, fuel sensor, which will give the some metric about the fuel which is inside the tank, and ultrasonic sensor, exhaust sensor, inertial sensor, pressure sensor, infrared sensor, radar sensor, and so on. Right. You may be wondering why all these sensors are required. In an automatic car, to find out if there is any object nearby or not, sometimes camera alone will not work. Right? Camera will only give the optical image. Whereas if you use radar, infrared, you can detect the neighboring object fast than what you can do with camera, and with more accuracy also. Right. So for driver assistance, we can use ML. Next thing is VLSI design industry, chip making industry. There also ML is used to automate some of the process. Instead of asking the engineer to predict how much power that circuit will take if that circuit is manufactured. Before making the circuit, we have to find out how much power it may consume once it is made, and how much space it may occupy, how much heat it can generate, and so on, right? And to predict all these values, you can use ML. Right? If we don't use ML, then human will have to look at the history, and he himself will have to learn to predict what is going to be. Right? So the human process is replaced by the ML algorithm here. And layout also can be proposed, the optimal layout, and power usage can also be predicted by ML algorithms, and all these are ML algorithms in the VLSI industry. Now let us get into some basics of AIML, and we connect what kind of AIML algorithms can solve some of the problems that we listed so far. Just to check, how much you know about the basics of AIML. Let me ask some quick question. How do you define AI? Quick question. How do you define AI? I'm seeing your chat box. Right. What is the definition of AI? Suppose an algorithm is given to you. How do you know whether it is an AI algorithm or not? Works as same as human. Partially true, not completely. Then what is ML? ML is basically mimicking human, right? Machine learning is mimicking the way human is solving problem. So AI is slightly larger than ML. Man's intelligence imported in machines, that we call it as machine learning. What is artificial intelligence? Everyone can type. Let us make it a little bit interactive. Dr. Hemalada ma'am, are you getting my point? Mimicking human intelligence algorithmically is called as machine learning. We are
Yes,
giving
sir.
the definition of machine learning. What is the definition of artificial intelligence?
So that may be like human intelligence means it be a learning or some solving problem.
Okay.
I mean, there will be the machine will learn and itself predicts the previous values. From that previous value, it will gives an final output like that. Is that artificial intelligence? Sir? I'm telling from my point of view.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. But that's partially true. What you're basically saying is about ML,
Okay.
right? So computers to do various functions. Just look at the word artificial intelligence, right? So which means there is another intelligence, right? What is the complement of artificial intelligence? Natural intelligence. A negation of that is natural intelligence, right? So what is natural intelligence? The intelligence God has given for all the natural elements like birds, animals, plants, human being, all, right? Yeah, again, Sri Devi, she's also saying that machine works based on human intelligence. Right. Human intelligence, if you mimic, then that algorithm is called as only machine learning. So all are talking about human, 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 human. Right. You're all defining machine learning. The artificial intelligence is an algorithm that is mimicking any natural intelligence. The natural intelligence may come from human, or it may come from some other animals, it may come from some birds, particles from algorithm. It's also A, right? There the intelligence is coming from birds. You may say human intelligence is a superset of all the intelligence, therefore you can say human intelligence is good enough. No. Some birds are able to see in the night. Some birds are able to recognize the objects in the night without light. Can human being do that? Dogs can smell much better than the human. So can you say that human is always better than dog? No. On some specific task, the other animals or birds are better than human. Right. So therefore, the definition of AI can be given like this. Any algorithm that mimics any natural intelligence is artificial intelligence. If an algorithm mimics human intelligence, then it is called as machine learning. Since human is one of the natural element, you can say that every ML algorithm is also AI algorithm. But there are some AI algorithms that are not ML algorithms. Understood? Any queries related to this? Right. Now let us get back to the presentation and see. That's what I did here. Objective of AI is to mimic the process of problem solving by any living being, not just human. Whereas the objective of ML is to mimic the process of problem solving by human being. Only human being is mimicked here. So therefore, ML is a proper subset of AI. Then coming to deep learning, which is basically AI with more hidden layers, and AI is basically mimicking human brain, isn't it? So human brain is related to human, therefore deep learning is related to machine learning. In other words, you can say deep learning is a special case of machine learning. You may be asking, if neural network is mimicking brain, is there any other way of mimicking human intelligence except mimicking brain? Yes, there are. For instance, we talk about subconscious mind, right? And without using how the neurons are, functioning, and we can still solve some problems without thinking. If somebody is trying to, hit you, you will block, right? The brain is not computing what is going on and all, right? It's called subconscious. Like that, there are something which is not directly an output of the neural process. Well, so there are many types of machine learning algorithms like supervised learning, unsupervised learning. Right? In supervised learning, the data will come with labels, and the machine will try to understand the relationship between the data and its label. And in unsupervised learning, the data will not come with label; it will only come with itself. Only data will be available; label will not be available. The machine will try to find out some pattern among the data, like clustering. The example for supervised learning is classification or regression. Whereas the semi-supervised learning is the one where some data will be labeled, some data will not be labeled, and you can train the model using labeled data in a supervised way, and then you can use that model to give the labels for the unlabeled data, and that is called as pseudo label. Now you can use both pseudo labeled data and truly labeled data together to build the model. That is called as semi-supervised learning. And the next one is reinforcement learning. The learning is happening from experience, not from the data. Experience means, suppose in the past you have done something for which you got the reward, then you can keep doing the same action. Suppose in the past you have done something for which you got some penalty, right? Negative reward. Then you will try to avoid doing same action in the future. That algorithm is called as reinforcement. As I told, the classification problem is supervised. And for instance, the image of the duck and the label duck will be given, and the image of some living being with the label non-duck, living being non-duck will be given, right? And all are given as input to the model for training purpose, and the model will try to understand relationship between these images with label and these images with this label, and that information which is learned that way we will use in the future to predict whether the given image is duck or not a duck. As you have already discussed or listened to some other speakers, there will be many phases in the supervised learning. One is training phase, the second one is testing phase, and the third one is the deployment phase, right? And in the training phase, the model will be built based on the training data that is given. The training data will involve two things: input, meaning the data and its label. And the model first, before giving this data to model, you will have to extract a feature vector, and feature vector and label will be given as an input to the model. Model will try to find the relation between this label and this feature vector, right, during training phase. And once training is done, that will be deployed here. And when the image is coming, and you will take a feature vector, and feature vector will be given as an input to this model, and it will give the corresponding label. Remember, here two inputs are there: label and input. But here only one input, the input, the image, or any other data alone, no label. Right. And this prediction is done for the testing purpose. Even after deploying the model, it has to predict the label. And another type of supervised learning is regression. What is regression? Regression is also prediction, but if you look at the predicted values, if you collect all the predicted values that will form a non-discrete set. If the set of all predicted values form discrete set, then it is classification. Set of all predicted values forms non-discrete set, then it is called as regression. People tend to use the word continuous data, continuous values to mean the non-discrete, but it's correct loosely, but not strictly. Better you use the word discrete and non-discrete. For instance, if you want to classify a person to be healthy or person with disease, take his gene. Let's say we are taking two genes of him, right? And we are trying to learn the relationship between his health condition with respect to his genes, right? Let's say for all the people who got disease, right, their gene values are the same. For all the people who did not get disease, their gene values are the same. Then if you draw a straight line which is separating these two, then this straight line will act as a classifier. How? If a new person comes, you take his genes and you substitute in the line equation, and and if you get the equation value, expression value is more than or if it is not lying on the straight line, if it is lying above the straight line, then you say that that person is having disease. And suppose that point lies below the straight line, then you can say that person is healthy. Suppose that point lies on the line, meaning that point satisfies the line equation, then you say not sure about whether he is healthy or diseased. Or you can classify to one category. But it's better to tell unsure. In this case, you only say whether he is healthy or not, binary cases. Whereas here, in the second problem, given the gene value 1, you need to tell how long he will live, right? That's a problem statement. And how long he will live is years, right? Years can also be in fraction, right? 72.4 years, something like that, right? If you allow that, the output values are all forming a non-discrete set. Any real value can be a potential output, right? Set of all real values is a non-discrete set. So if the output is non-discrete set, then you say it is regression. If the output is discrete set, then something like that. Any final set is a discrete set. Then you call it as classification. So that is the difference between regression and classification. Collect all the outputs. Call that set as A. And if A is discrete, then the prediction problem is classification problem. If A is non-discrete, then the prediction problem of supervised learning is regression problem. I think with this we'll stop. There are other examples like face recognition is supervised learning. Stock prediction like this is regression. In face recognition, the output will be any one of finite set of names. Whereas in the stock prediction, the value can be any real number, set of real numbers, set of all real numbers will form a non-discrete set. And it is regression is almost close to the interpolation. In the interpolation, suppose you are given some points, and if you are doing curve fitting for interpolation, that curve should go through all the points. Whereas if you do regression, the curve or the line need not go through all the given points, but that line should be as close as possible to this line. And these are all metrics for telling how good that machine learning model is, accuracy, precision, recall, and so on. I guess you have seen all this in the previous lectures. I think with this, let me stop. Let me not get into mathematics mathematics, and I leave this PPT with you. And if you are interested in, you can go through all this. So how the linear regression works, what is underlying mathematics, and all that are given here. Similarly, for logistic regression also, the mathematics is given, and some case studies are also given. And based classifier correctness is also proved here. With this, I'll stop. If you have any doubt, you can ask. We are touching 7:30. I guess there is another talk after this, right? I should not intrude into this timing. I have 1 or 2 minutes for answering your queries. So I'm reading your chats. So you can type if you have any queries.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Good evening.
Sir, this is Vijay Kumari from New Prince.
Hmm.
Sir, I had one doubt. That is regarding for using, for example, if you are using an ML algorithm for optimization means, just we
Hmm.
go for an platform Python IDE, sir.
Hmm.
Sir, I am a one PhD scholar. That is, I
Okay.
am designing antenna, sir. So if
Hmm.
I go with optimizing the antenna, just I return separately one program in Python IDE. How can
Hmm.
interface with CST tools, sir? Just that is nothing but CST tool is nothing but it will be used for designing the antenna. One of the software that will be used for designing an antenna, sir.
Hmm. See, I am from computer science
How can
background.
I interface that?
Hmm. 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 So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
understood,
okay, okay.
understood your
That
question.
is that possible to interface? Sir, is that possible
I
to
guess.
interface the two platforms, sir?
See, I'm not aware of this communication side. I'm from computer science background, but my
Yeah,
suggestion is
sir.
that just Google it, ask ChatGPT, and it will find out from the web
Yes, sir.
all the relevant content, and it will give you. And sometime it may not be correct, but you can test whether it is right or not. So that is how you can
Yeah,
start.
okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hi, sir. I'm
Yeah.
Suganya from
Yes.
New Prince. I have one doubt, sir. How do we ensure data privacy and security when deploying AI in connected industries systems, sir?
Right. Security, for example, if you are talking about security of the data which is used by AI algorithm, right? Better you use it locally. Don't connect the computer to the internet. That is the best
Okay.
way. For
Okay, sir.
example, you can use federated learning. The
Okay, sir.
federated learning will not allow the data to move from one place to another place,
Okay.
right? Or you can go for edge computing, right? What do you mean edge? The device which is capturing the data is also doing the processing. That is called as edge computing, right? So go
Yes,
for
sir.
edge computing or federated learning, and if you are so keen on data privacy. And one more thing, you can also believe this cloud servers to some extent. They will say that they will give security and all, and they will sign this SLE, service level agreement, and all that they will do. But still, they would have written somewhere saying that for research purpose or for security nation security purpose, if government agency asks, we have to give and so on, and you will still sign without reading or even after reading that. But small risk is there if you move your data to the cloud. But if you keep it in your computer only and computer is not connected to the internet, then there won't be any problem.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
The very purpose of federated learning is to make the data privacy. Learning is happening, but data is not moving from one place to another.
Sir, I have a one doubt, sir.
Yes.
Sir, actually, there will be machines that will detect the disease, but diseases that you said in machine learning, there will be an machines that will detect the disease.
Yeah.
So, what will be the algorithms used for detecting that, sir? Actually, in sensors, while detecting means there will be sensors used in every. That means for scanning, there will be a sensor we using. How we do interface with the machine learning that algorithms, sir?
Right. Okay.
Or
Yeah, understood your question. You're talking about two things: sensor and algorithm, which is detecting the disease, right? Right. So let us look at the cancer detection algorithm. For that, what is the data? The image, right? X-ray image or MRI image and so on. You can say that MRI machine is giving the image, and therefore you can say MRI machine, the whole machine is a sensor. Loosely, you can say that, right? And after taking the MRI image from the MRI machine, the algorithm will run on that data to detect cancer is there or not, right? So you can integrate computer with the MRI, machines. Right? Anyway, every MRI machines will be integrated with the computer only. Even to get the slice images, some algorithms running inside the computer only. So therefore, integrating ML algorithm with the output of the sensor is straightforward when the data is digital.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we crossed the 7:30. 5 minutes past. Thank you all, and all the very best for the rest of the talks in the workshop. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of the organizing committee and all the participants of the faculty development program, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to you for your insightful and impactful session on artificial intelligence and machine learning in industrial automation. Your deep understanding of the subject, coupled with clarity of your presentation, made complex concepts both accessible and engaging. We deeply appreciate the time and effort you dedicated to this program. We thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
Thank
all once again. Can I
Thank you.
leave, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Suganya ma'am, you can. Yes, sir. Suganya ma'am can continue for the next session. Sir, can you start, sir? Ram Prabhu, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Now
Thank
I invite Dr. Jasmine, Associate Professor, to deliver the introductory note about the speaker for the next session.
you. I welcome you all to the second session. Uh, Dr. T. Ram Prabhu is a scientist and joint director at DRDO based in Bengaluru. He is a seasoned aerospace research professional with over a decade of experience. He obtained his PhD in engineering design from IIT Madras, Master of Engineering from IIC Bangalore, Bachelor of Technology from National Institute of Technology, Tiruchirappalli. Dr. Ramprabhu's expertise includes the research and development of aerospace components using various alloys and composites with a focus on metal matrix composites, forgings, and castings for airframe and aero engine applications. His knowledge extends to areas such as machine learning, metal 3D printing, high entropy alloys and composites, friction stir processing, centrifugal casting, novel forming processes, light alloys, composite materials, and the wear behavior of composites. He has served as a scientist and assistant director at DRDO, managing key projects. Earlier in his career, he worked at Smart Analyst Private Limited in Gargan and SR Steel Limited in Surat. Dr. Ram Prabhu has authored publications on topics such as direct metal laser sintering, high temperature dry sliding wear behavior, and ANN supported studies on thermal sprayed coatings. His research, affiliated with DRDO, has also covered the effect of graphite propulsion and fly ash incorporation in FECU based friction materials. His recognition includes the Young Alumni Achiever Award from NIT Trichy in 2016 for academic research, the Bharat Gaurav Award in 2016 from the IIFS Delhi, and a certificate of reviving from Archives of Civil and Mechanical Engineering Elsevier in 2016. He was recommended for inclusion in 2000 Outstanding Intellectuals of the 21st Century 10th edition by the International Biographical Centre, Cambridge, England, for his contributions to aerospace materials and manufacturing engineering. He also holds a senior membership with IRED USA based on his research. Additionally, Dr. Ram Prabhu has shared his expertise by delivering guest lectures at various institutions on topics related to aerospace materials, processes, research funding in India, and proposal writing. We are very delightful to have you, sir. A warm welcome to sir.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
I think you may need to enable my video, then only I'll be
Okay.
able to enable, ma'am. If you
Okay,
have
sir.
that host option, please do that.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
And a couple of things like I have displayed the slide now. I want you to let me know whether slides are moving.
A slide is visible right now.
Okay,
Yes, sir. Slide is visible, sir.
visible. And is it moving, madam?
Yes, sir. It's moving. It's
Excellent,
moving.
excellent. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
okay. When you enable the video, tell me. I will enable my video also. Okay.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. At the
Yeah.
end, we can do that, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, first of all, I thank Dr. Jasmine ma'am for the wonderful opportunity. I may be an odd man out here. The very reason being, I'm not from EC background, but I have to make a justice to the my peer mates who are sitting over here today in the dinner time and trying, investing their time for listening to my talk. So before I begin my presentation, I just wanted to understand the kind of engineering branches who are attending today in my talk, engineering or science. Second is, how I have structured my presentation is this way. My structure of presentation, it starts with what are the funding schemes are there in India, and what is a sample proposal in ANR of funding mode, and what are the key elements in the funding proposals, followed by how to build a research ecosystem in the institute. So this is the plan I have. What I request all of you to be interactive is the first thing. Second is you can feed your thoughts in the chat box. So rather than me giving a monologue talk here without understanding your need, it may not satisfy your need and it will not value your time. So my request to all of you, you may please feed in your questions, your expectations. During the course of presentation, you get any
Yes. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
I muted the participants.
I
That's it.
understood,
Sorry,
ma'am.
sir. Sorry, sir. Sorry.
Understood.
Okay, sir.
That's
Okay, sir.
okay. So the what I was trying to tell, I just recap it once again. Today talk, what is my thought process is to understand from you your needs. I do understand that you are from circuit branches, probably maybe some science faculties attending this FDP program. And I'm going to give a very generic one, which is applicable to all the engineering and science department. My request to all of you is to feed in your requirements. Okay, in the beginning of the presentation, it is very difficult for to have a dialogue in the online session. If it is offline, yeah, it will be more interactive. To make it, despite of that, to make it more interactive, I request to the participants who are really keen on this area can feed in the requirement is the first thing. And during the course of my presentation, if you find any questions, anything which you want more enlightenment or clarity, you can feed the questions. And third is, I think I told you about the structure of the presentations. Hence, every 20 minutes, I'll give a pause and come back and look at the chat box and try to answer your questions. Okay. So with this initial few remarks, I'll start my presentation. So if you look at the funding ecosystem in the country, who all fund to the academicians in the country, you typically come across these funding modes: SCRB, DST, DRDO, ISRO, DAE, CSER, AICT, Ministry of Electronics and IT, exclusively for the circuit branches, EEE and electronics, and IT branches, allied branches. And Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, MNRE, meant for energy related research, so typically applicable to or more close to electrical engineering and mechanical engineering, Indian Council of Medical Research and Agricultural Research. Any research which has a final application in the medical field or the agriculture field comes under that. Department of Biotechnology. And if you are keen on working on the problem statement, which has a TRL level more than 3, okay, then you may need an industry partner to scale up your projects. So Department of Scientific and Industrial Research is a funding body where you want to collaborate with the industry and jointly write a proposals. And for your kind note, SCRB has been dissociated and dissolved and replaced with Anusandhan National Research Foundation. Okay, so it is a now funding body. In other words, it's an apex body who will be funding all the funding agencies or allocate the fundings to different funding agencies in addition to funding to the academics. So this is the way I structured the presentation. I'm very glad that I got one questions from Dr. Padmavati. On what basis the proposals are evaluated? Yeah, definitely I'll answer this question and suggest key points for good proposals. So before answering Madam question, my idea is to expose all the participants what are the schemes are first available. Let's understand, because some of you may be knowing, some of you may not be knowing. Maybe I'll take a couple of minutes to cover those schemes. Subsequently, we'll look at this question so that it will make sense to the people. If you have done the PhD and you fall in the early career research schemes, and there are some schemes exclusively for women researchers. There are few schemes only meant for experienced faculty. When I mean experienced, people who have already executed some projects falling under the category of experienced. There is one scheme exclusively for socially underprivileged community, SC and ST. And there is one scheme exclusively for the mathematical implied research. And there are a host of schemes for the industry enabled or the priority area focused. In fact, DRDO, ISRO, DAE all falls in this category. There are a couple of schemes for facility creation in the institutions. Then comes, so one is the research funding. Another one is how I can use government funding to travel abroad, publish my paper in international conference, or have a stint in abroad for your research purpose. And what are the schemes available in the country where I can apply for seminar grants, FDP conferences in that apart from AACT? And what are the attractive fellowships in postdoc and PhD? Similarly, attractive schemes for the UG PG students. In fact, there are few schemes available for school kids. Finally, I end with what are the bilateral call of proposals in the country, where in India tie up with other country, jointly pitch for the call for proposal to the academicians and researchers. Starting with the ANRF recent funding opportunities announced by them. So left side you find two schemes, the right side you find two schemes. The left side scheme are meant for pitching the research proposal. If you're an individual researcher and have not crossed 42 years old, include in all the schemes 3 years extra for OBC, 5 years extra for SC/ST, age relaxation. And one important information what you have to understand at this point of time, after this ANR formation, co-PA concept for the early career research grants are abolished. And number of grants have been increased to 1,600 from 700 from last year to this year. And the total funding amount also, this is also most of you may not be knowing, has been increased to, the limit has been increased to 30 lakhs to 60 lakh rupees. Another important question it may dwell in your mind is, how many years typically a funding is given? A project proposal, if I have to write, how many years is the minimum or maximum year? So Typically, project proposals are meant for execution in 3 years. In unavoidable circumstances, 1 or 2 year relaxation will be given. But that are not the a regular way of approving for the 5 years. Only in the exceptional situations, they increase the years to 3 to 5 years. Otherwise, you are expected to wind up by 3 years. So second kind of a project recently announced by the ANRF is Maha projects, wherein it's a mega project. In other words, it's a Maha project, wherein multi-institution, multidisciplinary people come and join together and work on a mission. For example, here EV mobility. This is the recent schemes announced by the, recent schemes announced by the ANRF body. I am unable to unlock my video. Now it's come. Right. Thanks. So if you look at the EV mobility, this kind of a mega projects where the funding amount goes beyond crore rupees, about 40-50 crores, which will be dispersed to different institutions under the EV mobility category. What they expect from you to write the proposal is they have defined the areas. In that area only they look for the proposals. Batteries and battery cells, power electronics, machines and drives for the EV vehicle, EV charging infrastructure. Only in these 3 categories they expect you to write a proposals and submit to the ANRF body for the funding. As I said earlier, if you want to organize any kind of events, conferences, you can seek the funding in SSY mode in ANRF. Similarly, to publish the paper in abroad with the government funding, you can apply in international travel scheme. So if you go to the ANRF website and you can see the eligibility and deadline, when you have to submit it. For example, if you're applying for the conference presentation, at least 2 months to 6 months before the start of the event, you're expected to submit the application form for the approval. Okay. Similarly, you want to organize any events, you are expected to do the similar in line, like about 2 to 3 months before. So couple of more funding schemes have been rolled out recently. One is Prime Minister Fellowship, to put it very simply. The veteran faculties in your any private colleges or the public institutions who are in the verge of retirement can apply to the state universities. For example, I think today I'm talking to the Tamil Nadu engineering colleges. So we have a lot of state universities, Anna University to Madurai Kamaraj University, to many universities. If you look at it, they are called the state universities. They can go and work after the retirement. And the kind of a package or the fellowship they give for this faculty is about 30 lakh rupees. The idea of this Prime Minister Fellowship is to empower the institutions who are research-wise underprivileged and needs to be empowered. To support them, this scheme has been formed. And they presently, if you look at the funding modes, it's not only for the engineering or science field, the funding body funds. They fund to agriculture, medicines, most importantly, social sciences area. ANR funding body focuses. So the days have gone where only science and engineering are given importance. The recent reforms in this funding body mainly is funding to the cross-disciplinary research, more inclusive research, including science, engineering, social science, and medicine and agriculture. So to give an example, other 2 schemes which has been announced very recently, a month ago, Advanced Research Grant, another one is Convergence Research Center of Excellence. The ARG scheme, that is Advanced Research Grant, they are expected to research on fundamental or and applied research And at the fundamental research, if you're applying, it should be scaled up to the applied research. That's why there's a term called TRL. So I wish all of you to know about what is TRL, technology readiness level. It has a scale from 1 to 9. And as an academician, you're expected to work in a problem statement, typically less than 3. There are some schemes which demand you to work scale up to 6 as an outcome. Okay. And look at the schemes which are rolled out recently and future also. These kind of schemes are going to come, not like those days was an individual you apply. Now they want to promote multi-institutional collaborations, multi-investigators like co-PAs, not from the same institutions, from the different institutions, from cross-disciplinary. This is a very important thing. Like, for example, computer science with mechanical, or computer science with civil, or electrical with civil, kind of a multidisciplinary, multi-institution, different engineering, tier 2, tier 3, or tier 1 mixed together, and transdisciplinary also. Like, let's say a computer science with a finance, computer science with a humanity department, ECE with the humanity department, kind of a problem statements. They want you to research in the advanced research grant. The kind of amount they give you, sanction you as a research grant is very huge. About 5 crore is the maximum funding amount. And the duration also has been increased to 5 years. So these are the big research grant programs recently announced. Another one, so in advanced research grant, if you see, science or engineering take a lead as a PI, whereas in Convergence Research Center of Excellence, social science, that is a MBA or humanities, that department will, management department faculty will take over as a PA. Okay. So thematic areas have been already outlined for the Convergence Research Center of Excellence. You can see that. I want you to closely look at these thematic areas, which is shown over here. And none of them are looking like a typical engineering problem or a science problem. All of them are more relevant to the country's development plans or the policies. For instance, data science in public policy. It may look very awkward for the science and the engineers. What is public policy? I don't understand. But you have to look at it in this angle of data science. So how I can use a AML for data analysis of the public data, which can be analyzed and insights can be brought in. Let's say use some kind of ML algorithms for the data analysis, supervised algorithms, kind of things, to bring out the insights or the trend in the data, which will lead to the policy development by our IAS officers. So they are bureaucrats. So in this area, they want you to join with this kind of my MBA department or social science department and support or incorporate your science and engineering influence or the applications or the advantages for the social science problems. Okay. Under this program, minimum 2 COPA is mandatory. And for management faculties or the social science faculties, they don't need to have a doctorate degree. Even with the master's, they can become a COPA. Okay. So the very idea of this ARG or Convergence Research Center of Excellence are to bridge the gap between social sciences, humanities, science and technologies in the country. Okay. Under the same ARG scheme, for the science people who are working in theoretical science or mathematical science or quantitative social science, they support for the travel and some kind of a purchase which are involved in your research work. They pay about 5 lakh rupees per annum for 5 years duration, that is 25 lakh rupees. And this is exclusively given to the PA, no co-PA is allowed. And they don't ask you to write a research proposal for this. They're asking you to give a 2-page short proposals to the ARG matrix scheme to evaluate whether your research has an impact or not. They're not going to evaluate your research outcome. They are going to evaluate impactfulness of your research or relevance of your research in the advanced research category to fund you under the matrix scheme to support some purchase related to your research and travel related to your research. That's all. So if you are from the socially underprivileged community like SC and ST, there is one exclusive scheme for you, Inclusivity Research Grant. The scheme is similar to a Prime Minister Early Career Research Grant, which I had shown you 2 slides before. Rest all remain same. No co-PA is allowed, 3 years durations, 60 lakh rupees funding. Only thing you need to be, you should be from the community of SC and ST. That's all. I set aside PAR program for some time because in phase 2 only private institutions will be added. Currently, it is meant for the government institutions. And I'm sure most of you are from today FDP belonging to the doctoral candidates or doctorate completed faculties. People who are into the research and are doing the research may suffer currently because of the lack of resource access infrastructure. For example, I want to download some paper from some website or some subscribed journals. Currently, due to the high priced subscription, the college is not affordable to subscribe. So we don't have a access to the relevant and contemporary research at this point of time by the present researchers. So and another thing is this all IITs, NITs, individually they pay and subscribe the same journal, pay huge amount of money and get the access. In the process, if you see, we are duplicating the subscriptions and paying the huge amount of money to these indexed journals for the access and duplicating. So in order to prevent this, money wastage or the taxpayer money, government has recently rolled out the plan called One Nation, One Subscription. As a nation, we take a subscription from across the journals, which are quality one, by the government. Then they will distribute to the state and central government institutions in phase 1. Already done that job. Now in the phase 2, through public-private mode, they are giving the access to the private institutions. So this is one of the boon opportunity for all the researchers who are sitting over here. The last one is for the college students who are entering into the graduation program or undergraduation program. Tamil Nadu kind of a state, as you know very well, education is the only weapon for downtrodden, financially downtrodden people to elevate. So probably last 20 years you would have seen, like our parents or grandparents, their economic state and our economic state. So which has we have seen the exponential growth primarily because of the education. Okay. So in order to promote the education, even central government has rolled out the plan called PM Vidya Lakshmi, wherein the education loan for the financially underprivileged are offered with the very least interest of 3% under PM Vidya Lakshmi through online mode. So you don't need to, our students need not to go and stand in the bank and beg for the education loan. Now they can apply through one click and they can get it done things. So please propagate this information. May not be useful to the faculty, but definitely useful to our next generation. So these are some schemes, early career research grant schemes. Some have been translated into ANRF and revamped and renamed in different name in SCRB. Other schemes are still existing from DST and AACT. So if you look at SERB, they have Subra, SRG, EMR schemes, which has been revamped into Prime Minister Early Career Researcher grants. Currently 1,400 grants are given every year. Just to one point, here is your institution should have one of the approval, and as an individual researcher, so one of the question also, like what kind of a proposals area I should focus. So one of the biggest challenge what I find in the country is the lack of exposure for the faculties in what area they should research. Most of you think that my PhD area, I want to extend it and do. But unfortunately, if you see in our country, especially in the academic research, suppose I'm a guide, I do in X area research, my student also will do the extension of the X area. And I also continue my research in that area and I force my next generation also to continue in that area. But what we fail to recognize is this area may be obsolete or may not be relevant in the current scenario. Third is, it is not aligning with the funding body's priorities. So what you have to keep in mind, your area may be super duper. Your proposal may be very sound and technically has high merit. But if it is not aligned to the government of India's R&D's priorities, there is a less likely chance that you will win the grant. So good proposal was the question. So just key point for the good proposal. First point what I have mentioned to madam, please go through the principal scientific advisor to Prime Minister website, PSA to Prime Minister. They are the body who outlines the R&D map for our country, advise the Prime Minister. So based on his advice, Prime Minister allocate the fund for R&D in our country, especially to the funding bodies. So if you go to the PSA to Prime Minister website, you'll find different missions in our country, R&D missions, like EV mission, quantum mission. Likewise, there are many missions, even the AA missions, and so on. And these missions are only transformed or changed into the funding body thrust area or the thematic areas. So, and these trustee area changes every year or every 2 years. So what I wanted to say, suppose you started doing research in X area, it may not be alive for our first thing. Second is, the area what you are working may be relevant for 1 or 2 years, then there is a upgradation happens. It's like in a software company, if you ask a software engineer, he says, I worked earlier in, let's say, Fortran, then C came, then C++ came, now the present day Python, R language, XYZ. There is a current, always upgradation and improvement over the existing thing. Okay. Similarly, in research area also, there is always an improvement and the change and the government priorities changes. So I wish all of you to adapt to that change rather than sticking into your own domain in a comfort in a research zone, and don't try to explore the research. There is a less likely chance that your proposal will get through, though it is a scientifically very sound. Okay. I want you to note down this SURE scheme, State University Research Excellence. Why I ask you to note down, age limit is 50. Add the relaxation of 3 plus 5, that is 53 and 55. Co-PA is allowed. As an institution, 10 proposals you can submit. As an individual, 1 proposal. But what is the striking advantage in this scheme? Less competition. Why it is less competition? Even though you submit to the SURE schemes, as a nationwide, the proposals will not be collected and given the grants. State-wise, it is segregated. Under the state quota, you will be given the funding. In other words, let's say 1,000 proposal goes to the SCRB. They will see in Tamil Nadu how many proposals have come. Let's say 100 proposals. And Tamil Nadu should be given, let's say, 20 proposals grants. Then in your competition boundary is within the 100 only, not 1,000. So easy to secure and easy to compete. That's a simple point I just wanted to mention to you. Okay. Ma'am, I have not completed your key point in good proposals. I just mentioned one point which is relevant to that slide, but there are a few more which I will explain you over the course. So AICT Research Promotion Scheme or DST, Scheme for Young Scientists and Technologists. These two schemes are not from the SCRB, they are from the different funding body. Research Promotion Scheme fund you 25 lakh rupees per project for 3 years duration. Rest all remain same how you see in the SCRB and the AICT also. In SIST Scheme for Young Scientists and Technologists, they also fund for the academicians, and this is the only scheme in among all the schemes fund for PG faculty, PG completed faculty. Rest all the schemes needs PhD as the basic qualification. Okay, so many of the institutions, whenever I give a talk, the first question comes, sir, I am doing my PhD or I just completed my master's. Am I eligible to do? So for them, this is the only scheme available. In other schemes, they are not eligible at this point of time. And I'm sure good number of female researchers have joined today. For them, these schemes are very well applicable. And in these schemes, they are only applicable. SERB has Power, DST has Kiran, Department of Scientific and Research has A2K+. So one of the complaint I usually hear from the academic institution is, sir, there is a bias in funding. Mostly IIT people are getting funding. We are not even considered. And we are from private institutions, so we are discriminated. So for them, to just answer your questions, even to bring the neutrality and equality and unbiasedness in the system, under the power scheme, they have categorized the institution in two categories. You are eligible in category 2, under which you will be awarded the research grant. Also, there are fellowships available for the PhD completed faculty. Either you can take a monthly research allowance or as a research proposal, grants about 30 lakh rupees. But both are mutually exclusive. If you're eligible in fellowship, you're not eligible in research grant and vice versa. And simple, your nomination can be sent through your adopted institutions. Okay. So this is one of the good scheme. The second scheme, DST scheme called Women in Science and Engineering. A good point about this scheme, till the fag end of your career or till the retirement, you are eligible to apply that. If you look at the age limit is 62, and it is a roll-on advertisement, like throughout the year you can apply. Most importantly, they give very clearly which research theme you have to work. Like Vidusi scheme means you should be interdisciplinary. I mean, your department with other department should be there in the part of the proposal. Or you should work in a problem statement which provides a solution for the societal challenges. For instance, waste management. So likewise, there are many which I will describe you a little later in my slide. And for PhD and postdoc also they fund. Okay. Under the DST scheme, 1 year IPR training given to women researcher exclusively. Okay, free of cost. You don't need to have a PhD, even PG you're eligible to apply. Like what I told you, like you want to get a government funding and go to the abroad and present the paper or stay for short period in some abroad institution for the research work. Under the wing scheme, they fund exclusively for the women researchers, where men are not eligible to apply and participate. If your institution is a women university or women college, under the Curie scheme, DST fund you to create the facilities in the area of basic science and applied science or in artificial intelligence area. Okay, so this is a facility creation scheme for the women university and women PG college. A lot of women researchers have one big problem is a career break, either due to pregnancy or childbirth or some XY other is that reasons. For them, IIT Madras has brought out a scheme called postdoctoral research program for the women with career break. 1 year postdoc they give, no age limit, but minimum you should have a 2 years career break after your PhD. So very good program to empower women researchers by IIT Madras. Another important recently launched scheme is Women Scientists for Leadership Program. How to create the leaders, women leaders in the academic institution. So with that novel aim, UK and DST jointly together launched this Women Scientists for Leadership Program. To the best of my knowledge, through my connects, I have seen in first 2 leadership program, about 7 faculties now got the opportunity to attend this DST program for a week, fully funded, and all of them are from Tier 2 and Tier 3 institutions, faculty. None of them are from even tier 1 institution, private institutions. So what I'm trying to imply, this scheme targets the exposure underprivileged colleges and especially the women researchers, mainly meant for the women researchers. And Tamil Nadu state commissions, they have funding modes for the Tamil Nadu colleges. Even for the PG, PhDs, they provide the Young Scientist Fellowship. Even for the school kids, it is meant for 9th standard school kids, they provide the Young Scientist program, under which they will get funded. So another typical complaint what we generally hear is IITs, NITs, they flourish in the research, whereas we don't get that flourish. And we don't get that exposure, or we don't have that facilities, or we don't have the creamy layer students. For them, this scheme is more relevant. This is one of the scheme which is very collaborative, which has a collaborative element, wherein you and this so-called Institute of Eminence jointly together apply for the research grant. In fact, you will apply the research grant, add them as a mentor. In case the proposal is accepted, you're expected to work under or get mentored by this institution of eminence faculties for a period of 90 days in a year for 3 years durations. And these 90 days need not be at a stretch. It can be mutually convenient between you and the mentor, spaced in your holidays, like a summer vacations or winter vacations or some, long lengthy holidays, so that your regular affairs are not affected. In addition to the research grant of 15 lakh rupees, they also pay you 60,000 rupees per year for the non-IOE faculty as a fellowship. So it's more of the win-win strategy, wherein you get a kind of exposure which you don't have in your college. That's the first thing. Second is you get access to the latest research facilities. Most importantly, the kind of a peer group which is available in these LIT institutions. And kind of a network you derive through these research collaborations, especially with abroad, through these Institute of Eminence faculties. So you get a very nice exposure to write a good papers, do good research, access to the good facilities, access to the good peer groups. These are the advantages you derive. As an Institute of Eminence faculty, he gets half of the funding for himself without putting much effort, and he will be sharing your research outcome as a one of the author. So these some of the benefits he derives. So it's more of the collaborative win-win strategy based research program. So I wish you can explore this. Coming to the DRDO, I'll finish these 5 slides, then I'll give a break. DRDO has, where I am employed, research boards. But so far, you have seen the research schemes which are targeted for either the basic research or the fundamental research or applied research. And they don't tell which specific application you have to work. You are free to choose the application what you wish to work, as long as you fall into the domain what they mention as a trust area. Whereas in DRDO, it's very clear. It should be relevant to the defense. If it is a Navy-based, naval. If it is a military soldier-based, life sciences. If it is a bombs, tanks. If you're from Chennai, I think you know CVRD. So they make a tanks. So tanks, bombs, missiles, guns, projectiles, these all comes under the armaments. If your problem statement is aligned to avionics, mainly the electronics which are used in the aircrafts, missiles, helicopters, engines, they come under the category of aeronautics. So where I am actually a part of it, Aeronautical Research Development Board, Materials and Manufacturing panel. So each research board has 7 panels. Again, if you closely look at each panel, closely look at all the panels in each research board, each research board covers all the engineering and science discipline. I'll just mention only EC department here, relevant EC department, research panels in the research board. Naval research board, if your problem statement aligned in electronics 1, sonar and signal, and marine system. If you're from computer science, scientific computing. These are the three branches relevant to the circuit branches. Similarly, Life Sciences Research Board is a one panel called Life Support and Biomedical Devices, mainly meant for the electronics faculty to evolve or develop the devices, electronic devices for our soldiers or the military personals. In the Armament Research Board, you have sensor and electronics, which is direct relevance to the EC department. In the in the Aeronautics Research Development Board, there's a panel called System and System Engineering, that is system. So this panel is more relevant to the ECA department. If you have a problem statement which is meant for the startup, then you can acquire or seek the funding from Technology Development Fund. And if you have a research problem relevant to the defense doesn't fall under this category, you can apply in ER-IPR board. Similarly, in DRDO, like earlier 6 cases, recently there is a new venture has been instituted, that is DRDO Academia Industry Collaboration, DIA. And they have set up the Center of Excellence in 3 IITs presently, especially with the aim of developing the defense technology, future technologies for the Army, Navy, Air Force. And these technologies, Center of Excellence, are presently placed in IIT Delhi for the North, for Central India IIT Bombay, for South IIT Madras. They operate in that institution, but they fund it to all the engineering colleges. Okay. Only the space is provided by those institutions, and those faculties are also a little at the edge because they give the space. And all these electronics people, the Center of Excellence is located at IIT Madras. It is a Power Electronics Center of Excellence. So if your problem statement in electronics, so you can apply to the IIT Madras Center of Excellence, DRDO Center of Excellence for a project funding. So just the bottom link, you can click and you can go directly to the IIT Madras and find out what are the problem statements they want you to solve. ISRO has a different way of or different approach to the funding for the academicians. They have a program called Respond Basket, in which every year, December second week, they publish a PDF with about 300 project proposals, project ideas are the proposals, wherein each proposals will have a objective, lab which coordinates the project proposals, and the people, domain scientists who are involved in the project proposals. And they also give the deliverables if you are ready to solve the problem statements. So they give very clearly in the Respond Basket the problem statements. So which implies you don't need to think what problem to be solved. Rather, you are given in your hand what is the problem faced by the ISRO to be solved by the academicians. So your job is to provide the solutions. And when I analyzed last year Respond Basket PDF, which consisted of about 300 projects, I found that about 40 to 50% of the problem statements fall in the scope of AI ML development in this space, or communication or sensor developments. So there is a huge emphasis on electronics and computer science engineers need for the ISRO problem solution to provide the solution to the ISRO. Department of Atomic Energy, I think people who are from Chennai, they know about IGC or Kalpakam. They come under the Department of Atomic Energy. Likewise, in India, we have BARC, Bombay, RRCAT, Indore. So they all come under the Department of Atomic Energy. They do fund in the atomic energy related area funding for the academicians. SERB, IRHPA, there is a program to promote the multi-institution, multidisciplinary research, wherein There is no cap on the upper funding, cap on the funding amount. And it's a long program, about 5 years. They have identified 31 trust area. I have mentioned few here to show it covers all the engineering and science branches. Most importantly, you can see that humanoid robotics, robotics and sensor array technology, encryption and decryption may be more relevant to the circuit branches. There are some faculties who may not be interested in science and engineering, may be interested in social science and humanities, though being an engineer or science background. For them, there is a funding body called Indian Council for Social Science Research. Time to time, they roll out the call for proposal calls under the major project or minor project. I mean, minor project, the time duration is about 2 years. Major project, the time duration is about 5 years. Here, the theme they give, the title they give, they expect you to do the survey, ground level survey, go to the field and do the field survey and use science and technology to analyze the data, bring out the insights, which should eventually help our bureaucrat to draft the policies to elevate the people's standard of life. Okay, so time to time call comes, so you can look at it. Accordingly, you can coin your projects and work on. Okay, so coming back to the madam question, so what to write on the proposals? So that's the thing. Maybe in the next slide, I'll give a break. So just the idea what I wanted to throw to you, if you are keen on writing the proposals, first you forget about the domain what you are working. Align your research into one of these areas. Either your research should target the social solution to the societal problem or societal challenges, or very niche, very specific application, very relevant that is relevant to the country's development. So if you ask me the societal problems, one is we face a cyber security threat, either in the defense or the banking sector, which are very relevant, and rural healthcare. So our 60 to 70% populations are living in a rural area where the healthcare is below the average. How to elevate them? What are the technologies we can research and bring into the commercialization that can help the rural people? And India is one of the few country who depends on the agriculture significantly for the GDP. So the research emphasis in our country, agricultural emphasis in our country is huge. Then transport. Presently, the smart transport applications area. Second, we are not energy-rich country like Gulf or Russia. We have, in fact, our import hugely on the energy. About 60 to 70% of our country money are spent on buying the energy from the abroad. If we make our country self-sufficient, if not exporter, that itself is the great saving for our country. That is the very reason most of the recent research call are focused on clean energy or green energy or the renewable energy. So these areas you are expected to work. And other societal problems, for example, water scarcity, soil degradation, that is a biodegradable polymer related area. Climate change is another problem. We have a very odd and extreme climate faced the last couple of years, you may be knowing. And the waste, especially the hospital waste and e-waste, there's a significant emphasis on it because it creates a huge problem for our country with respect to the disposal issues. And environmental sustainability. In fact, the sustainability engineering is the one important branch what government want academicians to implement in all the colleges. Either you work in this area or the emerging technology identified by principal scientific advisor to the Prime Minister team, that is 5G technology, blockchain technology, digital twin, industry-enabled IoT, robotics. 3D printing, augmented reality, semiconductor technology, and recently quantum technology. Or how to apply your AI and ML to healthcare, especially like a mental health analytics, or the agricultural, like weed management, or in banking sector, like finance analytics, or any research problem intended to bring the advancement in defense or the space or atomic energy are most welcome. So these areas, if you have a focus, you have high chance of success. As a individual, what skill set you need to have? You should have a PhD, and you should know what is the funding body objective, trust area, previously sanctioned project, so that you don't duplicate the same project and apply for the funding. And one clue I would give you, please analyze this previously sanctioned project to know what type of research problems are granted and what kind of institutions and what is the amount of funding they have given. This will give a good idea or the broader view for you to select the research problem and the amount what you seek as a research grant. And I always say all the researchers to have two networking. One is academic networking, another one is industry networking. Academic networking also, you should attend this kind of a seminar, FDP conferences, or virtually through LinkedIn, in a place where you don't have any exposure or you don't have any connections. It is better to go to the conference or seminar in the physical or the virtual mode. Anyway, virtual mode anyway, across India, wherever you want. At least much away from the 300, 400 kilometer away from your place, so that you will face a different culture and different kind of a people, different exposure. And they'll be more open enough to have a collaboration. They don't see you as a threat or they don't see you as a competitor. Suppose you are from Chennai and you are attending only in Chennai, and these people have less tendency to network with you. The very reason is you both apply to the same college at some point of time outside. So they feel you as a threat rather than as a collaborator. But you are, suppose a guy from Chennai and from Bangalore, they will have better collaboration because you sign in your Chennai and I sign in Bangalore. But when you put our hands, so we can multiply our research outcomes. And industry network, why it is very important. About 40 to 50% of the research call, they need industry partner as a co-PI. Almost all the research call currently, they need one industry support letter. Almost 95% research calls. If you have, it is a desirable requirement, not the mandatory requirement. If you have it, your chance of winning the proposal is high. That gives a confidence to the reviewer that the industry is likely to adopt, provided your project is a success. How to build the network? First point, you make sure that you attend yearly at least 2 to 3 industry expo organized by either Chennai Trade Center or Bangalore Exhibition Center or Mumbai Trade Center. Wherever you are located, you find out in the metro. Every day, one or other industry expo happens in the trade centers. It's a free event. You can just walk in and see their stalls and get their contact IDs, cards. Then whenever any event you organize in your college, make sure that you give 2 things to them or 2 advantage to them. One is give them space for them to showcase their product to the students and the faculty in the conference. Second is give them the space to deliver the lecture so that there is an exchange of knowledge between the industry and academic takes place. And it also morally boosts their contribution to the academics. In the process, you win them so that you can first you give them, then you can ask them for your students internship, later for the employment for your students or internship for the faculty. So likewise, many avenues will open up. In fact, you can have them as the industry advisory board members and your curriculum development. Likewise, many things you can, many benefits you can derive by having the industry network. And make sure that always you do interdisciplinary research. When your proposal should have at least 2 different departments joined together, written kind of a thing. If not, the proposal doesn't allow the co-PA. If the proposal allows a co-PA, you must have a co-PA who are from different than your background, especially from the different department is very desirable. Okay. So with this, I just wanted to give a break of 2 to 3 minutes to feed your questions, so that I will read and accordingly fine tune my next 30 minutes presentation. So I'll give a break of 2 to 3 minutes for you to feed the questions, thought process, and any doubts. I'll be happy to answer. Right. So I got only one question. So that's pretty interesting question. How to complete the PhD in the easiest way. So you want the easiest way, or you want to do complete it in the shortest duration, or you want to do very effective PhD, or you just want a degree. So these 4 options I give to, I think, Devi. So if she can answer that, then I'll give you some of the ideas. Shortest duration. Okay. I don't know your branch of engineering, your area of interest. Okay, ML. Branch is also computer science. If you're interested in ML, my suggestion to you, since I work in that area recently, use the literature to collect the data. Okay. And as a computer science, I'm sure your computer science related people who are working on the ML typically work on some dummy data available in some websites. For example, consumer data or some fake news detections, kind of a problem statement only typically work. Since you are ML, I can go a little deeper and make you to understand. You should collaborate with some people, some other departments such as civil or mechanical, where there are a lot of problem statements are available, lot of vast amount of data is available, either in the literature or with colleagues who are working over there. You can simply take up their problem and look at how you can effectively do the ML. That is the shortest way of doing, because you need only one journal paper or 2 journal paper to complete your PhD. And they have good amount of data. Your job is to collaborate with them, let them understand the insight of your outcome, but you give them a right algorithm. In other words, your model performance should be close to 99% or 100% kind of algorithm you have to select and give them. Or you can build the custom algorithm for them. So that is the way if you channelize your research problem statement, it is easy for you to complete in 2-year durations because it is a collaborative project. All the insights will be explained by him in a mechanical terms or the civil terms or other, whichever the problem statement you are taking. Your job is to select the right algorithm and give the insights how this particular algorithm fits in this kind of a data. So when you complement with the other engineering branches, this paper will get easily accepted in the mechanical engineering based journals because the intensity of the ML comes there will be very high. Whereas a typical mechanical engineer may not know much about the ML or the kind of algorithm to be selected. That's where your value addition is going to come for him. And that journal will accept your paper very easily. Okay. Yeah. So if you are interested in image processing, we take images or we use images in 2 areas. One is microstructure. Any materials which you use, you take any material in any applications. Steel for the construction or the automobile or the aerospace, or composites for the aircrafts or space structures. Take it anything, we have microstructure images, which is nothing but cells in your human body. How cells decides your lifespan. Similarly, microstructure decides the property of the system, whatever you are working. So why don't you work on properties, microstructure property correlation? Yeah, deep learning approach. Hope I'm audible. Is one area. Second is in the industry. A practical case is, let's say I make 1,000 parts. I wanted to check whether all the parts are okay. You typically do non-destructive testing. Currently, I keep the sensors, mainly the high-speed cameras, NDT techniques like X-ray radiography, kind of like how medical radiography, similarly X-ray radiography is there, or ultrasound scans are there, which are used for even the practical industry components. Take those images, apply your deep learning, and give the defect classification quickly is the second area where you can work. Third area in the image processing using ML, there is advanced process called 3D printing, which I told you. You just talk to your counterpart from the mechanical engineering. Tell them you want to use cameras inside the 3D printing machine and capture the images to see whether any defects popping up during the 3D printing, so that that feedback can be given to the machine and auto-correct it and either repair the layer or rebuild the layer, so that at the end of the printing, I come up with a product which is defect-free. That should be your end applications. So there are a lot can be done in image processing using ML for the materials or mechanical or advanced manufacturing processes. So you can think about it, just because in this class I can exclusively talk about ML for a long time. So you can talk to me through my WhatsApp. So I will give you a couple of ideas you can discuss later. All right, one more question: on what basis the proposal has been selected? Okay, I'll answer this question at the end. If I complete it in another 10-15 minutes, some of the slides, and just quickly I'll tell for the institutes. There are some faculties who can propagate this information to your management to bring the some research ecosystem in your college. Because see, we are only looking at, I want to have a project, I want to write a beautiful proposal, I want my proposal to be written. But do you have ambience for the good research environment in your college? You have to think. For instance, IIC and IIT, they have a flexible admin system. Faculty teaches one course, and students are strong, creamy layer students. Facilities are already funded by the government. None of them are available in any private colleges currently. And most of your faculty, at the end of the presentation, I'll give you all the details. Most of the faculty spend their time on accreditation and ranking, and which will exhaust you at the end of the day or end of the semester, leading to heavy stress on you. So this is the biggest challenge faced by all the private colleges student faculties. and the lack of facility. So how to come out from, see, these challenges are inevitable. You cannot do away like IISc and IIT. You have to live with this problem. With this problem, how to bring the good research ecosystem or research mindset in your college is to, there are some ideas. So quickly I'll run through that idea. One is to create the institute, funded research facilities. One thought process. Second is, horse cannot do all the jobs. Faculty cannot do all the three jobs of good administrator and good teacher and good researcher. So, and each faculty has their own advantage or the flavor for their career. For example, there may be a good researcher, may not be a good teacher, or may not be a good administrator, or vice versa. So any institution should categorize their faculty into at least three modes, like researchers and teachers and administrator, and set their goal according to their interest and their capability, rather than expecting from the same person all the three. And just to create the good research ambience, you must have research council in your college and center of excellence, which is run by group of faculty as a multi-department center of excellence. I'll talk about it. Your research council should have experienced researchers, like a retired scientist from DRDO, ISRO, or professors from Institute of Eminence, or some famous industry, experienced people. And their job is to expose your faculty the trusty area, what country wants you to research, or funding schemes, what is available in the country. Okay, it should happen every 3 months or every 6 months to make every department to aware what's actually happening in the research sphere, so that you are not outdated and rather you are updated. This awareness program is very important. Always encourage only quality research practice, instead of pushing your faculty to take a circuitous route or the scam route by paying 5,000 rupees and getting the papers, or paying something, getting the pattern, or adding some people who are relevant in the paper. So these kind of malpractices can be avoided if you promote only good quality research practices, just by asking them to publish one paper or two paper, not like a loads of paper. Quantity is not the measure of success or measure of merit. Quality over quantity matters. And reward them financially. And who are good at research and are interested in research should be given less load in teaching and admin. Most importantly, all the research faculty should be mentored by this apex body. Okay. Coming to the center of excellence, I'm sure most of the colleges will be having the center of excellence. So my thought process is, your center of excellence just not a research laboratory or the student lab. It should do the justice of the word called excellence. So you should have a center of excellence, time-defined mission, and it should have a council which are having the members from multi-department, and your center of excellence should be run by the multi-department. Like, for example, 3D printing, when I talk about it, I have a sensor, so 3D ECE, I have a lot of data, I should have a machine learning expert, and it is meant for the mechanical engineers to produce the part, or the civil engineers to print the concrete structure. Okay. And electrical engineers needs are there, because there are circuits, there are electrical powers, and there are automations. So like this, every people should come together and run a center of excellence as a unified center of excellence. And your center of excellence should do the job of internship for the students and faculties, corporate training for the employees. I have given the roadmap, first year what it should be done, second year, third year, fourth and fifth year, like this. And your center of excellence should give the certification courses for 15 days or 1 month or 6 months. And it should act as a testing services, since you have equipment and machines there. And through that testing services, you should give the technical consultancy. This all will bring the revenue for your college. And one of the questions on the entrepreneurship, there are 2 schemes in the country which provide the funding for the startup. Niti is one funding scheme. Okay. National Initiative for Developing and Harnessing Innovations. Under the scheme, faculties are funded for the startup. One more scheme which I'll explain you at the end of my presentation. And your center of excellence should be the center where all the research should happen in your college, not like individual department or the individual faculty research laboratory. And they should have a bank of PG and PhD thesis title. So one of the question was how to do the easiest way at PhD. So once you have a problem statement ready-made before you register a PhD, you know what to do. Okay. And add that PhD should be industry relevant so that you can get into the industry and do so that you get a better employment. And whatever the IP you generate from your PhD, either it can be started as a startup or can be transferred to the company for under the transfer of technology, you can earn the royalty. All this process will culminate into more revenue generation. So whatever your management invested in the first year, at least you will get in the 8th to 10th year. So your management will be happy. And for the work you do carry out in the center of excellence, you are paid for that as an extra remuneration, because the certification courses, internship, corporate training, you make a earning. So your college can have a finance model where 80% or 70% they can take and 30% they can give it to you. So what are the areas you should do the research or you should have a center of excellence? I just read out quickly. One is anything on the e-waste, hospital waste, plastic waste, or solid waste. These are national priorities. It's not my idea. Again, you just go to the Indian R&D websites, you will find out. Rural healthcare, how to integrate the data sciences into that. Then in the area of agriculture, how to integrate the data science or how to create the climate resistant agriculture. In the area of energy, clean and net zero energy building and green energy area. If in the area of materials engineering, instead of working on MMC, PMC and kind of things, better you go for the sustainable material resource centers, focusing on circular economy to minimize the waste, to achieve the ultimate goal of zero waste. In the area of manufacturing, green manufacturing. For the civil engineers, it's the smart city development plans. And in the area of electrical vehicle, that is a sustainable transportation system. For the computer science engineers, futures will be on quantum computing. For a material science engineer, it is a quantum materials. For electronics, it is a quantum communications and sensors. Okay. And for the social science people, it's on the digital humanities and computational economics. Okay, so I'm going to skip a couple of slides, or I just going to mention only 2-3 points with the interest of time. Future research ecosystem will be on the interface of social science, arts, humanities, business and science in association with science and technology. That's what in the beginning I showed you some of the calls. As you can see that the transdisciplinary research is promoted and will be given more attention in future days. So how to integrate all these disciplines, disciplines matters a lot for all the faculties here. And please have an industry advisory board to each department to advise what direction they should do the research. Similarly, as you know, all of you, mostly computer science engineers, they know the impact of LLM models very recently, how it is revolutionizing the teaching methods. And there are some point where teachers are, human teachers are not required, even the AI can do the job, kind of a situation may come. So we have to prepare ourselves and we have to train our faculty to adapt to the advanced pedagogy system so that we will be more advanced than the system which we created by us, which we created. And the last point may not be relevant to most of the engineering colleges because most of the institutions are controlled by the state university. Create the corporate research, sir, to have industry people in your college as a researcher to support your research ecosystem. Promote the virtual exchange program, not the physical exchange, virtual exchange program with the partnership universities. If you want to collaborate, please go to the developing country rather than the developed countries. And give the internship for the faculties in the industry. And work with other institutions and create the certification program for working professionals. How to adopt the AI, please think over it. Though I'm not from the computer science background, but I recently delved into this area of artificial intelligence. I see that it's going to revolutionize the entire ecosystem of even teaching and the research. So for instance, for each student, we can use a AM to customize based on his skill set, everything, his career path from first year to the final year, including fetching the job and helping him into simulate the interviews, answering all these technical policy related questions or institute related questions, even the mental health related questions, and engaging with the alumni and connecting with the students. Like this, many things can be done by adopting the AI. At this point of time, by visiting about some 100 plus colleges in the country, what I have seen, the influence or the penetration of the AI into the academic institution is relatively less, I see. So this is the right time all the faculties can get exposed to these and integrate this into your teaching as well as in the institute reform areas. In fact, even to the your certificates, blockchain technology has been implemented in advanced countries. Some recent policy changes, PhD publication is not mandatory. UGC has recently given the mandate, and hiring also based on your PhD problem statement, they can do it. In other words, like you do PG in some area and PhD in some other area, with respect to PhD, you can join into the market-driven branches. And focus on undergraduate should be improved so that, like in Ivy League universities, so that we also have a world-class institution in our country. And days have gone where rote learning and memorization-based learning. In fact, people who have done their MBA from IIM will understand most of their learnings are based on the projects, problem solvings and case studies. This how to bring into your curriculum, please think about it so that you create the future generation more valuable who are coming out from the India. And make sure that even the undergraduate problems, you involve the industry. They can be your co-guide or they can design the problem statement and give it to you. Have a mobility program for all the PhD scholars, including the faculty who are doing research to the industry. Only allow industrial PhDs. Most importantly, all the students who are doing PhD should have entrepreneurship skill, how to convert their science into the business. Unless you don't have the skill, your PhD finally lie as a piece of paper, not useful to the country or not useful to you. Just you have a tag of doctorate, which is of no use in the sense of PhD. And always invest on networking and relationship building. Make sure that your college also organize industry and academia conclave to create the platform for you to network. And your institute should have a technology translation office to handle all your IPs, especially created out of your research. Okay, this slide I'll skip it. And there is one question on what are the proposal elements in the funding proposal. Okay, so only key points I'll just tell you. Make sure that you have research questions are very clear in bullet point 3 or 4. And make sure that you highlight the research gap, which is having high relevance to Indian context, not the global context. Okay. And if your research objectives are aligned to the societal challenges, which I told you earlier, or make some impact to the society, that is more preferable by the funding body. Okay. And you should also highlight how your proposal idea is innovative or unique compared to the existing one. And another important point is timeline of your project. So let's say you define 3 years, every 3 months or every 6 months, how your project will progress. That milestone chart is important. And each milestone, what is the deliverables? That has to be clearly specified. Sorry. Yeah. The next point is you should have one letter of support from experts. The point number 7, from R&D lab or IIT professors or from the industry. This is a desirable requirement. This will give a confidence to your reviewer that this proposal have gone through one round of review by the industry. That's why they are giving the letter of support. So you'll have more reliance on your project proposal ideas, and funding can be very easy. And make sure that your project is reviewed by the research council set up by your college, and you can get their constructive feedback and implement it. Typically, the questions asked by the board during the presentation are how to shrink your budget, what is the TRL level of your project, is there any startup can come from your project proposal idea, and what is the possibility for the commercialization. So these are the typical questions irrespective of the projects you may face. Okay, so one question on how to write a very meaningful proposals. Make sure that have a clearly defined, specific, measurable, achievable, time-defined goal. It's not only the goal what you're putting it up in your proposal, it should be aligned to the national priorities. And you should know what is the TRL level of your project and commercial potential. Okay. Plus, industry support letter is very, very important. Never ever ask money from funding agents to create the facility. Research funding is given to execute the project, not to set up the facility in the college. If you don't have it, wherever the facility is available, get the quotation, attach the quotation, ask the money for the quotation. Okay, to use the facility from some places, not to create the facility. Okay. Avoid technical jargons, inflated budgets, and people who are not relevant, don't add it, don't have over-promising goals. So these are very common points which you may be knowing, and each funding body works in a different way. I'll take maybe 5 minutes more to give you a little more information so that it will be useful to you. What are the metrics or the reviewers when they evaluate a proposal, what they see? First thing, your objectives are relevant to Indian context. And what is the current state of research in that field, what you are writing, gaps, what you are addressed already solved or not. I think the next point I have told you, like it should fall into either technology advancement or societal challenges. And you should have a detailed breakdown of the budget. And you should have clarity on interdisciplinary by listing the relevant disciplines involved in your research. And please have one annexure called project management plan. These 3 years, what is your management plan? And who are you are going to involve, that stakeholder engagement. This should be in one page you should have. And you should have a skill sets. One is you should know the funding landscape. As I said, like each funding works in a different way. And your profile, your technical merit, and your credentials, that also will be seen. And please align your research to the Government of India interest. And that research area should have a translation research, which means it should not stay in the TRL level 3. I mean, like you finish your research and publish it and give a report. That is not currently the funding body needs. They should see as a product at the end of the day, not at least through your research, at least in future. So that is a kind of research only they are currently encouraged. Typical mistake, your limited experience are seen in your credentials or resources which you don't know, which you seek. These are the 2 reasons your ability will be suspected. Of course, lack of professionalism in drafting, over-promising goals, irrelevant topics, misalignment with the funder priorities are other reasons for the rejections. Another 2 slides, so like what is the current missions by the country, national missions. One is on quantum, another one is on AI, third one is on national biotechnology development strategy, fourth is on EV mission. So these are only headlines I'm giving you. You look at the kind of a budget allocated by the Government of India. Then if you are working in defense, space and energy and agriculture, if it is a defense, cyber security, I mean, which is relevant to the ECE department. If it is in space, national geospatial mission. If it is on materials, photonics technology. If it is in nuclear area, anything on the nuclear medicines. If it is an agricultural, how to use a space technology for agricultural disaster management. If you wanted to work on societal impact, anything on the semiconductor manufacturing is given high importance recently. Other two areas may not be relevant to you. One is for biotechnology, another one is on the policy development. Okay. As an academic institution, you make sure that you don't only have research lab and center of excellence. Please have an incubation center, startup, MSME. Unless you don't have these 5 components in another 2 years, your institute will perish because of the influence of the deemed universities. Because there is no upper cap on the intakes. So, and they start setting up in the tier 2 cities, and they have a good amount of funding to have these all the components. Okay, so naturally the intake will reduce in the tier 2 institutions. So try to either get adapted to this or make your institutions to have these 5 elements in your college so that you sustain in the race. I'll quickly come to the last 2 slides. As a faculty, I wish faculty to undergo this QIP free PG certificate programs. This will help you in the calamity of recession in the education sector. People who are from civil and mechanical, they have faced the very bad time in the last 5 years. You may be knowing, no admissions. Many are fired who has a very great experience and research credentials because of market. Now education is driven by the market. Like students are only opting certain branches, they are not opting other branches. And this is a cyclic wave. Sometimes circuit branches win, sometimes a non-circuit. So when the waves are not in against you, however good you are mercilessly fired by your college or not treated in a way you are supposed to be treated. In that kind of a calamity situation, this QAP program will rescue you because you can have a cross-disciplinary in teaching in the domain where you obtain this PG certificate program. It's a free program offered by IITs and NITs by AACT sponsorship. And if you want to become a dean and a principal kind of a leadership role, you wanted to take it up, IIT Jammu gives 1 week program to train all the faculties. And if you're doing the PhD, please note down IIT Delhi has a research fellowship program. SERB has Karyashala, Ritika, and INSA has Indian Science National Science Academy has visiting scientist program. All these 4 programs, as a faculty who are pursuing their PhD, can undergo the training, hands-on training, with or without stipend. Okay, and this will give a very high value addition for you. And for school kids, I think most of you will be having the school kids. Please ask them to apply to ISRO Young Scientist Program. Or if you have a girl child, ask a kid to apply in Bigyan Jyoti. Both the programs are exposure program for the school students to pursue science and engineering as a career. As a part of this, Young Scientist Program, you are expected to stay as a resident in the ISRO or the DST labs, CSCR labs, where you get a chance to interact with the scientists and have a real exposure on science and technology projects. So you don't need to push your kids to take it up science and engineering as a profession. Rather, they will be passionate by seeing this kind of through this exposure. They'll become more passionate on science and technology and take it up as their career. IIC and IIT every year, December 2nd week, January 1st week, March 3rd week, March 1st week, they have open day where kids and parents are allowed freely to visit the campus, interact with each department faculties and see the research, what's happening there. And there are some science lectures are also organized there. This is also a very good experience, or rather the excursion for the school kids. So please take them. It's happening only on Sunday, so it's easy for you to take them to this high-tech institutions, the so-called Institute of Eminence. And if your kid is doing 6th to 10th standard, they're eligible to apply their project in the online mode in Inspire Manak, get awards, 10,000 rupees cash prize for the best project award. Every year, 100 projects are awarded. One of the questions on entrepreneurship, please look at Nidhi, which I have told you. They fund you for the academicians for the startup. And please also look at PRISM program, promoting innovations in individual and startup and MSMEs. Just to fund you, individual means faculty, startup, MSME, okay? So they fund you under this scheme by Department of Scientific and Industrial Research. Okay, so my last before slide, if you want to know about the fellowship or internship, what's the what are those announcement related calls, you please look at the website called indianscienceandtechnology.org.gov.in. This website hosts all the fellowships, research related informations, other advertisements related to the faculty research time to time. It's like a kind of a Google for the academic research. And some faculties will find difficulty to access some facility, where it is there, how to access, you may not know. So there is an integrated portal called iSTEM, where all the facilities in government colleges and some private colleges are hosted. They hosted the information like, which facility, testing facility or software available in which college, who is handling, what is the accessing cost. All the information is available. So this may be a helpful or handful information for the faculties who are lacking in the facility access. Tamil Nadu also support under TAN seed program the startups, and good teachers are rewarded and awarded through National Award to Teachers program. So every year there is a national award to the teachers. As higher engineering, higher education institution category, you can apply. So I primarily work on presently in machine learning. Previously, I have put a lot of experience in expert in 3D printing and coatings and drones and composites. In fact, the 3D printing ecosystem, people know me well across the country, especially in the defense area, metal both as well as the polymer. So any help is needed on these area of composites, 3D printing, drones, and machine learning, apply to the materials and manufacturing, you can approach me in the technical domain. Recently, I ventured into IoT and data analytics. For the academic institution, I support them in curriculum development, acting as the academic council member or the research council member. In fact, I am a BOS member for NIT Trichy and NIT Andhra Pradesh and Anna University, kind of some good colleges in the country. So anyone needs any support, any colleges, you are welcome to contact me. In addition to the academic support, I do support startups and MSMEs in the field of 3D printing and coating at this point of time. There are some companies in Chennai and Bangalore and Surat. Currently, I'm there in their board as a mentor. So I run a broadcast group in WhatsApp. This is my WhatsApp number as well as email. So someone was asking me my WhatsApp number. So you can take down, you can note down from this. So in the broadcast, to create the positive research ambience for the faculties, as a social concern, I keep forwarding information on research to the faculties. Some may be relevant to faculty, some may be relevant to some other department faculty. So information what I'm sharing, you can use it for yourself if it is relevant to you. If it is not relevant, it may be relevant to someone, you can forward it. I don't customize and send. It's a social concern. I'm just circulating to the faculties. So anyone wants to join in my broadcast, please tell your name, department, college name. So accordingly, I'll place your number in the respective broadcast group. So you can, if you wanted to join, you are welcome to join. With this, I just want to conclude, and I must thank Dr. Jasmine for the wonderful opportunity and giving me the platform to express my thoughts and to support the faculties, because I believe you teachers are the great pillar for our country, because who are the one generating the next generation. So any questions, please, you can text in or talk to me or mail me. So happy to connect, and once again, thank you all of you. Good night. Any questions? Yeah, you can unmute and ask, or you can text in.
Participants, if you have any queries, you can unmute yourselves and ask. Sir, please unmute
Yeah,
yourself. Yes.
yeah. So I do understand that, you have been working from since morning, and later also you're listening means it's highly painful for all of you. Uh, with that great difficulty you're attending is highly appreciable by me to all the faculties. Recruitment procedure for DRDO is GATE presently. And in fact, all the DPSU, that is the all PSUs and DRDO, are recruiting students or the students through GATE examination followed by the interview. Except ISRO conducts its own examination. HAL time to time conducts their examinations. Otherwise, all the PSUs and the DRDO, what I see currently, they recruit through GATE examination. Ma'am, if
Yes,
there are
sir.
no questions,
Okay.
with your kind permission,
Okay.
shall I leave,
Yes.
ma'am?
Yes, sir. So first of all, thank you, sir, for accepting your invitation to deliver a session on
Thank
this
you, ma'am. Thank
online.
you.
So participant, kindly switch on your video for 1 minute, just to take a snap. Sir. So kindly switch on your videos. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you,
Nice
sir.
meeting you all. Catch you in next occasion. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
See, the feedback link has been posted in the chat box and also in that WhatsApp group. Kindly fill it.
Okay, ma'am.
The feedback link has been posted in the chat box as well as in the WhatsApp group. So kindly fill it.